So it's new driver launch time, and in today's video we're going to take a look at Srixon's 2023 driver offering. We've got the ZX5, ZX7, these are the Mark II versions. Some new technology to talk about, so we're going to run through all of that in this video and show you how these two drivers perform. Okay, so we're going to jump straight into the ZX5 Mark II. So this is a little bit more of that slightly longer profile from front to back, a little bit more higher launching, a little bit more of that slightly higher spin, and a little bit more of that straight to draw biased on this particular club. So potentially a little bit more of the forgiving of the two options that are available. 460cc head, and now the big sort of change point here from Srixon is they've gone away from that carbon crown, which is a little bit different to maybe what other brands are doing as they're sort of introducing more and more carbon. Srixon have actually gone away, and we're going to talk a little bit more of why they've sort of done that in this video. So I think straight away, initial looks down by the golf ball, this looks really premium. It's more of a matte finish now. We saw maybe more of a glossy, obviously, with that carbon effect in the last model. This is now a lot sort of cleaner. There's no carbon effect, as you can imagine. Obviously, this is all titanium now, and it sits beautifully square, which I really, really like. That's a belter to kick things off, and straight away there, that is a noticeable sound difference. Going from that carbon crown, we know when we put that carbon in drivers, we see more of a duller sound, don't we? That more muted sound. This is back into that little bit of that tinnier titanium sort of sound in golf club. So as mentioned with the ZX5, this is a little bit more of that sort of mid spin, a little bit higher launch, and a little bit higher on the forgiveness of these two drivers. We still have a lot of adjustability in that neck sleeve, and there is a lot to go out, so you can move that loft up and down, obviously change lie angle as well to sort of accommodate certain shot shapes that you're trying to achieve. Comes with an 8-gram fixed weight at the back. That can be actually changeable, and maybe through custom fit you can alter that as per maybe the swing weight you're trying to achieve. But a very good looking driver at address, and I think that's a better looking driver than the previous model, I would personally say. Sometimes you see more of that straight to draw bias clubs. They tend to sit a little bit toed in. This doesn't, which I like. That's just gone up that left hand side there. Super strike, great powerful ball flight there. That's a good ball flight. It's definitely up in the higher area that I maybe sort of see. It's a good launch for me, to be fair. If I can get that 12 launch, it probably just looks to be spinning and stalling. Yeah, a little bit high on that spin, but again, this is sort of designed to sort of do that little bit of that more mid spin, keeping a little bit of spin retention on for this type of driver. This is a 9.5 degree, and I've just got this set at 9.5. Again, there's lots of adjustability through that neck sleeve to tweak that loft and obviously that face angle as well. So why has Srixon gone away from this carbon crown when everybody else is sort of adding more and more carbon into it? So basically what they've added into this as their new sort of technology is this star frame design. Basically, it's a titanium crown, but it's quite obviously thin, saving some weight. It's not going to be as light as carbon, but what it allows them to do with this star frame, it's like a crisscross sort of lattice work in a way, which creating sort of structural sort of stability in that crown. So basically it's not going to lose the energy through the crown through flexing. It's putting that back into that club face and obviously through into that golf ball to maximise ball speed, which Srixon are saying is producing an extra 2 miles an hour of ball speed in comparison to the previous model. I think that could be a separate head-to-head video to see a comparison. Just smash that like button if you'd like to sort of see that video. Just working a touch up the left. It just looked to be a little bit spinnier there for me personally, but that, I mean, it feels pretty good. It's obviously a little bit louder with that titanium now and obviously losing that carbon, but really big fan of how that looks and sits. Love the shaping of the head. Feels nice and solid. And we've still got a lot of technology that we had in the previous model with this rebound frame. Obviously, again, it's sort of creating flex points in the head, which again is going to try and put it all back into that ball speed. That's a cracker. That's a nice ball flight. There's a touch off the toe that, but it flew very nicely. Yeah, so that slight toe strike, so he just pulls that spin a little bit, so decent spin, decent carry, just getting up to that 294 total mark. So switching their shaft over now and put it into the ZX7 Mark II. So this is a little bit more of a compact head. It's still a 460cc head, same as the 5 version, but now just shaped a little bit differently, a little bit deeper on the face, a little bit more compact in its head. So looks to be a smaller appearance, but we've still got the same cubic capacity. We've got some adjustable weights now. So those 2 weights now we see in the heel and the toe can be flippable. So it comes as standard with the 4 gram weight in the toe, 8 gram weight in the heel. Obviously we can change those around depending on how you want that weight distributed and maybe the shot shape that you're trying to achieve. Still got the neck sleeve obviously with the adjustability. Now this is, unfortunately this is a 10.5 head. That's the only one I've got at the moment. So I've lofted this down 1 degree to 9.5, which is my loft. Now what that does, it just opens the face by 2 degrees. So I'm now sitting a face that sits a little bit open, but if I put that back at standard 10.5, it sits incredibly square again. Yeah, good strike, just moving a little bit on that right hand side, probably with that face angle there. So I might just change my shot pattern a little bit due to the shape in there. So the spin was good for that slightly right shot there. So Srixon saying this is a driver which has a little bit more control over the 5. So it's a little bit more of that low spin, mid launch, mid sort of forgiveness. So maybe not quite as forgiving as the 5, obviously as the weight goes away from that center back section, is now moving into the heel and the toe. And it's designed to promote more of a straight to fade bias on this driver. So maybe the player who doesn't like to see the left part of the golf course, this could be a better option. It's a nice ball flight. Again, that just looks to spin a little bit high. Oh no, it's not bad actually. It just looked like it just climbed a little bit, but that's not bad actually. 6, I think that felt a touch low in the face. I was expecting that maybe that spin number just to pop up because of that. Big fan of how these 2 drivers sit. I think they sit beautifully behind that golf ball. Quite like that matte finish over the gloss now. The sound, maybe not quite as much of a fan of that with it being a little bit louder. But to be honest, it's a true titanium sound that we've sort of always been used to in the past, haven't we? Before really carbon got involved. So with the 7 over the 5, you're just getting that extra bit of adjustability with those 2 movable weights. Obviously you can make it more draw or fade depending where you put that heavy 8 gram weight in the heel or the toe. Srixon saying that provides up to 20 yards of left to right difference when you're moving those weights. Sounds a lot, it'd be an interesting one. But again, through custom fit, you can have different weights put into these drivers, which obviously helps with a lot of swing weight adjustments. So there's additional weights which are actually stainless steel, there's some that are tungsten and nickel, and some of that are actually aluminium. So that, as you can appreciate, is going to change the weight, and we can really probably quite fine tune that. Again, that will happen more through that custom fit environment, really getting that weight dialed in for that, you know, putting the weight in the right place of the head, hitting that sort of strike location for you as an individual. As I'm shooting this video, I'm not exactly sure the price this is going to come in at, but somewhere it's going to be around that sort of £429 to £449 mark. So it's going to be probably a little bit less than most of the other big brands in that driver category. Oh, that's a little bit low in the face. That'll be an interesting one to see on that spin. Again, it hasn't. That's quite impressive. A little bit of a cut, a little bit low. It was one of those little squeezy sort of shots just hit there, and that spin only went up to 2772. So nice control of spin on those low hits, which typically you see that spin climb. Oh, that's a nice one to finish up on as well with the 7. So for me personally, I prefer that sort of more compact head of the 7. I quite like that control of the spin we may be seeing with the 7 over the 5 for me personally. Again, this is where you should go and test these yourselves, because your strike differences on the club face will obviously alter how that ball spins and your delivery. So it's getting that loft dialed in, you know, neck sleeve dialed in, whether you need that adjustability on the weights, on the head, that's obviously something you need to sort of go through. It's a good follow on from probably last year's model. Looks is better. Interesting how they've gone away from that carbon. Post your comments down below, let me know your thoughts. Appreciate you watching the video as always, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.